channel, or if you have been reading here, my name is Jess. Today is going to be my Warcross check-in. As you guys know, I'm reading Warcross for Hypernaut for this month. Also, I will link the Goodreads group down below if you guys are interested in joining us. I've been really loving talking to people about this book. I don't know what it is, but I think the more engagement you get on a book, the more you're talking to your friends about it, makes you love the book even more. So it's going to be no surprise that I am absolutely loving this book. I'm having so much fun reading it. So I wanted to sit down today and talk to you about what I'm thinking of this book. It's going to be kind of spoilery, but not super spoilery. If you haven't read the book or you're currently reading the book, you might want to skip this till a later date. I'm not sure if I want to keep filming like check-ins every month or if I want to do like a complete wrap-up at the end of the month. Warcross does something similar where she does like a whole wrap-up at the end of the month about what she's thinking of the book that they are currently reading for her book in a jar group. So I may do that just to avoid spoilers for everybody, but this is going to have some spoilers in it, so if you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this video. If you are, however, reading this and you are enjoying it, I would watch it anyway. So just as a reference, I am on page 187, so that's going to be what I'm speaking about. It's chapter 16 is where I stopped. So if you've not read past that, you can continue watching this video. If you are caught up to speed where I am right now, obviously if you've read less than that, I wouldn't watch this video. But let's go ahead and just get started because I have so much to say about this book and a lot of feelings and thoughts on it. Alright, so starting off with this book, it is about our main character, Amika, who is a hunter, but also a hacker in this world that she lives in, and there is an overall game called Warcross that a man named Hideo, I don't know how to say his name, has created, and it's one of those games where you can put on goggles and you go into like a virtual reality game and everybody plays together. And the first thing that we learn about Amika in this book is that she is kind of desolate. She doesn't have a whole lot of money. She lives in a studio apartment with one of her friends, and she is very involved in Warcross. Now what she does, her job as a hunter, is tracking down people who illegally gamble within Warcross, who cheat in Warcross, you know, things like that. So that is what our story kind of revolves around in the beginning part of it. Now the first thing to really get my attention and to get me to keep reading this book, because it was kind of, I did like Amika when I first read it, but it seemed sort of missing something for me. But the first thing that really got my attention would be every single year there's something called the Warcross games. Now teams are chosen like the best Warcross players, and it's like, I don't remember if it's like a 4v4 or a 5v5, but there are teams that are assembled. I think it's 4v4. No, it's 5v5. There's a bunch of teams and they kind of battle each other out in an arena. So in the beginning of the book, Amika and her roommate are actually watching the Warcross like opening ceremony. And in the game, the players cannot see anyone in the stands because obviously everyone is there, but there's like a, I don't know if it's like a wall like or something, but they can't see anybody. And within the game, there are these items that they can receive. They give them boosts that help them during the battle, things like that. And Amika sees one and she knows that it sells on the black web, the dark web, for a ton of money. And like I said before, she is quite poor. She doesn't have a whole lot to her name anymore because we find out earlier that her mom left her dad, and then her dad does pass away from, I think it's cancer. It doesn't really say if it's cancer, but just that he has like a disease that he dies from. So she decides to steal the item. Now in stealing the item, she is successful in stealing it, but she is transported on to the arena that the players are playing on. They see her, you know, she takes the item and she leaves. The second she gets back to her world, the second she takes off her goggles, she starts getting constant text messages and calls from a number that she does not recognize. And then she gets a text message that says, please call this number immediately when you receive this text message. So she starts panicking. Her roommate obviously starts panicking. You know, they think she's gonna go to jail because one, she's not necessarily allowed to be playing Warcross. She does play illegally. She plays under an unknown name, so no one knows who she is. She doesn't really have any kind of like status within the game. And she says before, had she been playing like an actual person, had she had the money, the time, and the resources, she would be much higher level. I think in the game when it starts out, she's like level 22, 23. So she's not supposed to be touching computers, so she assumes that she's in a lot of trouble. So she goes to bed. I would not have been able to sleep, but she goes to bed and wakes up the next morning and actually calls the phone number. And she's connected to the right-hand man of Hideo, the creator of Warcross, and he actually offers her a job. So he pays off every debt that she has, pays off her apartment for a year so her roommate can continue to live there, and then offers to fly her out to Tokyo so that he can give her his job announcement. He wants to go ahead and present her with a job and let her know, like, and then give her the option of whether she wants to take it or not. Now for me, when I read that, I had a discussion with my friend Sam and Sid, the other girls that are helping me run this, and we were all wondering, like, would we have done it? Would we have taken it? I mean, obviously, I wouldn't because I'd be leaving, like, my husband and my cats and whatever, but had I just been, like, a single woman, not a lot of money, just living somewhere, would I have done it? Yeah, I absolutely would have. Who I am now, probably not, but back then, yeah, I definitely would have. So she does accept the offer and she does go to Tokyo to meet him. Now, this is where the book gets really fucking cool. And I don't know if it's because I just finished Ready Player One or what, but I love the world. Now the second she gets flown into Tokyo, the plane ride itself is incredibly insane, and I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to spoil it for you guys if you're planning on reading this, or if you are not necessarily where I am, or you're just planning to click off this video once I get to where you've read. But the plane ride was really cool. Tokyo itself is really cool. Tokyo is really set up around this game. It's like the hub of the game because it is where the creator lives, it is where the games are held, you know, everything like that. So everything is really centered around it. Because it is the launch of the new Warcross games, there's a ton of people there, there's a ton of different players. Everything, when you put on your goggles, you can see all of the different signs. There's a bunch of there's like an overlay of the game on top of just the world when you're walking around. I don't know, I just thought that was so cool. I would love to live in a world like that. I've always wanted to visit Tokyo itself just because it has a lot of technology and a lot of lights and things like that. That is another reason why I really love New York. I love that feel of things. So when I read about Tokyo, when I was reading about it, I just fell in love with the setting of the book. So she goes to meet Hideo, I'm just gonna keep pronouncing Hideo. I'm gonna pronounce him Hideo. When she goes to meet Hideo, he offers her a job. He says someone has hacked into his game, and he doesn't go into too much detail on what has happened, but he hires her as a hacker, well, as a hunter and a hacker to figure out who it is and to, you know, track them down, to stop them from doing this, because obviously he has a lot invested in this game. He did create this very, and when I say very, like teens, he created it very young, like young teens. So he's a lot invested in this game. He is much younger now. He's like 23, 22. So he's not old by any means. So he's still very invested in this baby, in this thing that he has created. So he hires her to find that. But what he also tells her is she's going to be competing in the Warcross games with the team that she stole the item from. Yes, let that sink in. My first reaction when I read that is that they were gonna fucking hate her, but they didn't. Now, she doesn't know automatically, and Hideo doesn't know automatically that's who she's gonna be drafted for. What they do is they pick something called wild cards, and there's a bunch of them because there's a bunch of teams, and they all show up, and then the teams themselves, the team captains, get to pick one of the wild cards to join their team. Now, the first people to pick, and the first person picked are her, and Mika gets chosen for the team that she stole the item from. And Asher, the leader of the team, says, you know, people are going to underestimate you, but no hacker. He said, but someone who's able to do what you did is going to be an asset to the team, and she definitely proves that later. Now, where I left off, there's someone on her team who she suspects may be the person that they're looking for, the person that they call Zero. But they don't go too far. I haven't gotten too far into whether or not it is him. I'm actually currently at the part where she's in the dark web of the game of Warcross, kind of searching for her other teammate to see why he is where he is. But so far I'm absolutely loving this book. I'm trying to figure out who I ship her with. I ship myself with Hideo. I think he is beautiful. I don't know why, but like geeky, kind of awkward guys are totally my thing. Even though my husband is not like an awkward guy at all. I just really love the awkward characters in books. I think that they're just my favorite. I don't know. I'm loving the character development. I really love the characters. I really love Amika as a character too. One, she's a badass, but like I said before, she's like a relatable badass. She's definitely like, just like you and I, but also with these talents, and I don't know, I just really love her, and I'm really loving the setting of this book so far. Like I said, I'm about halfway through right now, so I'm excited to read the rest of it. And I probably won't do another check-in, but I will just do a wrap-up at the end of the month. But so far, I'm absolutely loving this, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. Alright guys, so that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you guys are also loving the book as much as I am. Like I said, I will leave the Hypernaut group down below. You guys should definitely check it out. We're having so much fun talking about like what we think. We have set up, you know, specific questions for each chapter, so we kind of like help you along in discussing the book. But like I said before, even if you're not reading it this month, those questions, and like this month, this book those questions will always be available on the Goodreads group. We'll still be keeping up with them. So if you are reading at a slower pace, if you're taking your time, don't feel bad. Even if it takes you months to read this book, I honestly don't care. I'll still be answering all the questions in the Hypernaut group. But hope to see you guys there, and I hope you're having a good week, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!